when nature comes indoors. How plants quiet the mind and heal the heart. Hi everyone. Have you ever had that feeling? You're sitting at your desk, phone buzzing, tabs open, emails piling up. You've eaten, slept, even taken a short walk. But something inside you still feels unsettled. There's no real danger. And yet, your body's tense. Your thoughts are racing. You're tired, but not sleepy. It's a strange exhaustion. Not physical, but emotional, mental, spiritual. And you're not alone. In today's world, even when everything seems fine on paper, our minds are often not. We're overstimulated, underconnected. We've built concrete jungles and forgotten what green feels like. But here's the truth I want you to sit with for a moment. You don't have to escape to a forest to heal. You can start with a simple, small, potted plant sitting on your shelf. Why this matters? The impact of indoor plants on mental health, emotional well-being, and stress relief. We're not talking about decor. We're talking about therapy. Science-backed, deeply human, and profoundly transformative therapy, rooted in green life. This isn't new age hype. This is grounded in decades of research from psychology, neuroscience, environmental studies, and even architecture. So whether you're a stressed out parent, a busy office worker, a student trying to stay focused, or someone quietly navigating anxiety, this conversation is for you. Let's take a breath. Let's slow down. And let's reconnect to something we've forgotten we needed. Nature. What happens in the brain? First, let's get scientific. You may not realize this, but the moment you look at a plant, touch a leaf, or smell damp soil, something powerful happens inside your brain. Here's how: the nervous system shift. A study in Japan had office workers place a tiny plant on their desk. They were asked to simply look at it for 3 minutes when they felt stressed. That's it. After just a few weeks, researchers observed lower blood pressure, reduced heart rate, a calmer autonomic nervous system. That's the part of the brain that controls your fight or flight response. Just looking at a plant regularly helped the body shift from chronic stress into rest and recovery. Cortisol reduction. Cortisol is your body's main stress hormone, and in small amounts, it's helpful. But when it's always high, it affects your mood, your weight, your sleep, your immunity, everything. A Dutch study found that people with indoor plants at home had significantly lower morning cortisol levels than those without. They weren't doing anything special, just living near plants. Reward system activation. Here's something sweet. Every time your plant sprouts a new leaf or a flower opens, you feel happy, right? That's dopamine. Your brain releases it because it sees growth. Something you cared for is now thriving. It creates a loop of hope, consistency, and joy. This isn't just good for your mood. It's excellent for people recovering from anxiety, trauma, or depression. In homes, office, and classroom. Now that we've touched the science, let's look at the real-world application. Where do plants make the most difference? At work, modern workplaces are full of stressors, artificial lights, constant screens, noise, pressure. But studies from the UK and Japan show that employees with desk plants are more productive. They take fewer sick days. They report higher job satisfaction and lower burnout. It turns out, when you feel calmer, you work better. In school, children, especially young ones, are highly sensitive to their environment. Researchers play potted plants in elementary school classrooms. The result? Students became more focused, less hyperactive, and even scored 10-20% higher on math and reading tests, even more beautiful. They developed empathy and patience simply by watering or observing the plants at home, especially for the elderly or lonely. For older adults, especially those who live alone, plants provide companionship. Daily care routines create structure. Watching a plant grow creates joy, and studies from nursing homes show that even small indoor gardens help improve sleep, lower depression, and boost memory. In short, the more disconnected someone feels, the more a plant can help them reconnect. Nature as therapies. Let's go deeper. There's a rising trend in mental health care called ecotherapy, using nature as a form of emotional healing. And houseplants, they're at the center of it. Why? Because plants struggle with traditional talk therapy or meditation, plants offer something safe and healing, moving meditation. You might not be able to sit still with your thoughts for 15 minutes, but can you water a plant, wipe its leaves, check the soil, say hi to it every morning? That is mindfulness. That is therapy. Trauma recovery. People who've gone through deep loss, divorce, grief, postpartum depression, report immense comfort from plant care. It gives them a reason to get up, a symbol of new life, a slow, steady process of growth. How to begin your first plant and beyond. Now that we understand the why, let's talk about the how. Because I know what you might be thinking. I love the idea, but I'm not a plant person. I don't have a green thumb. I'll just kill it. Let me say this clearly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. This isn't about becoming a gardener. This is about creating a living connection. Right in your home, at your desk, or by your child's bed. Here's how to begin. Less is more. But start with intention. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start with just one plant, one pot, one space that could use a little more life. Here are 3 ideal choices for beginners. Snake plant, almost impossible to kill. Filters air, needs very little light or water. Pothos, grows fast, needs occasional watering. Beautiful trailing leaves, peace lily, elegant, gentle. Thrives in low light, tells you when it's thirsty. These plants are not just beautiful, they are resilient. Place one on your desk, your nightstand, or the kitchen counter. Somewhere you'll see it every day. Choose living plants, not artificial ones. Plastic plants may look tidy, but they don't breathe, they don't change, they don't invite interaction. Real plants release subtle aromas. They change with the season. They teach you about water, light, patience, and imperfection. And most importantly, they invite your attention. That's the whole point, to slow down, to care, to connect. Build plant care into your routine. Let it be small but steady. Say good morning to your plant while brushing your teeth. Spend 5 minutes every Saturday checking leaves and wiping dust. Notice, is it leaning toward the sun? Is the soil dry? Does it look happy? This is not a chore. It's a check-in for the plant and for you. Over time, you'll see a rhythm emerge, and with it, a deeper rhythm inside yourself. Tie each plant to something you want to grow in yourself. This might sound poetic, but it is incredibly powerful. What if one plant represented calm, another forgiveness, another resilience? Every time you care for that plant, you're caring for that quality in you. You're not just watering roots, you're nurturing patience, peace, strength, kindness. This symbolic act creates something deeper than self-care. It becomes a self-transformation, addressing common doubts and misunderstandings. Let's be real. Not everyone sees plants as a wellness solution, and that's okay. Let's address the most common concerns. Will this really help my anxiety? No plant, no matter how lush or beautiful, is a magic cure. If your environment is toxic, if your relationships are strained, if you're not getting support, a plant alone won't change everything. But it can offer a starting point, a quiet reminder, a living object that says life can grow again, even here. Do plants really clean the air? Yes and no. NASA's famous study on plants and air purification showed that certain plants can absorb pollutants like benzene and formaldehyde. But here's the catch. You'd need hundreds of plants in a sealed room to make a massive difference. So don't rely on plants alone. Use them alongside. Good airflow, open windows, reduced use of chemical cleaners. That's it. Plants still contribute, even if it's just by raising humidity and reducing dust. I have allergies or asthma. Are plants safe? Absolutely. Some are safer than others. Avoid pollen-heavy plants like lilies or orchids, strongly scented herbs indoors, mold-prone pots. Don't overwater. Instead, choose snake plant, aloe vera, peace lily, spider plant, all known to be hypoallergenic and low risk. I'm too busy to care for a plant. I hear you. But here's the truth. A plant doesn't need much. You don't have to water every day. You don't need to trim or fertilize constantly. Start with a hardy variety. Set a reminder once a week. Even 5 minutes a week can keep your plant alive and keep you grounded. The ROI, mental clarity, focus, and a moment of peace that belongs only to you. Why this matters more than ever. Let's zoom out. We're living in one of the most mentally exhausted generations in history. Anxiety, depression, burnout, they're no longer rare. They are expected. Screens are everywhere. We're always on. We measure rest in minutes and rush through joy. And in the middle of all this, we've lost something simple. Something our grandparents had without knowing its value. The presence of nature. The rhythm of life. The quiet gift of rain. We weren't meant to live in constant concrete. Our nervous system are still wired for trees, grass, and streams. But if we can't go to the forest, let's bring a small piece of the forest home. When plants become mirrors, let me ask you a question. Have you ever talked to your plant? Just a quiet, hey there, or look at you today, or maybe, sorry, I forgot about you. Sounds silly, right? But what if I told you that wasn't just you talking to a plant? It was you talking to yourself, your inner child, your inner tiredness, your quiet longing for connection. Because plants, in their stillness, don't judge. They don't demand. They just receive. And they reflect. How you treat your plant says a lot about how you treat yourself. Do you rush past it? Maybe you're rushing past your own needs. Do you overwater it, afraid it'll dry out? Maybe you're pouring too much energy into others without boundaries. Do you forget it entirely? Maybe you're forgetting your own rest. This isn't just self-care. This is self-awareness. And it begins with a leaf, a pot, a bit of dirt, and you, children, parents, and passing on peace. If you're a parent, here's something powerful to consider. Children who grow up around plants develop higher emotional intelligence, more responsibility, better focus, and stronger bonds with nature. But more than that, they learn that care is quiet, that growth takes time, that healing isn't loud, it's leafy and slow and patient. In a world full of noise and speed, giving a child a plant is a gift beyond measure. So instead of another flashy toy or another screen, give them something living. Let them water it, name it, watch it droop, recover, and bloom. It teaches them what school often doesn't: patient observation, resilience, love without condition, and perhaps most importantly, it teaches them how to care for life, including their own. What one plant can do. Let's bring this full circle. You don't need a greenhouse. You don't need gardening skills. You don't even need to feel ready. You just need the willingness to try, to place one small, humble green thing in your space and say, you and I will grow together. Here's what might happen. You'll notice your breathing slow down. Your screen breaks. We become leaf-gazing moments. Your thoughts will soften. You'll smile more when a new leaf unfurls. And one day, without realizing when it happened, you'll find a sense of peace you hadn't felt in a long, long time. Because in caring for that plant, you've started caring for your own inner garden. So my friend, what will you do after this? Will you pass by the plant shop without stopping? Or will you step in, run your fingers across the leaves, and find one that speaks to you? Will you wait for the right moment? Or will you let the moment be now? Because maybe, just maybe, what you need isn't a break, isn't a vacation, isn't more advice or another meditation app. Maybe what you need is a living thing to remind you of your own aliveness, a snake plant for strength, a pothos for resilience, a peace lily for healing. Whatever you choose to begin. Because the mind, your mind,